Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts, and you can follow me on socials at MLU Pod. You can also support My Little Underground for as little as $1 a month. Link in the description and over at peteraradio.com. Today on the show, we have the great Thanya Iyer on the show today to talk about her latest album, Kind, not fitting into a particular genre, where she would put her album in a record store, learning violin, studying music therapy, and so much more with the great Thanya Iyer on My Little Underground. All right, Thanya, thank you so much for coming on My Little Underground. It's great to have you.
It's great to be here and chat with you and meet you.
Yeah, likewise. So, while you were learning how to play the violin, what traditional music were you learning and listening to?
So I started violin lessons. I was learning like classical violin, but then I started doing like Indian classical Carnatic violin. There was like an artist from India who came to visit, and I stayed at like my friend's house where he was staying and just like took a bunch of lessons, and then went to visit in India to learn lessons. So there has been a lot of violin styles that have happened. Yeah.
Did you learn the raga style at all?
Yeah. I learned actually singing when I was young and went through that whole training. Yeah, like when I was young, me and my sister would do singing lessons with our friends, and we would just learn. Yeah, like it's like different exercises and like the slides, and then um, songs, and there was a lot of like community, like talent show, variety show, gathering, community gathering, music and different sorts of acts, and so it was. Yeah, it's been a huge part of my just like musical heritage. Just, yeah.
It was probably challenging, right?
I think the hard part was like balancing the two different worlds, especially with like violin too. It was just like, because I was also learning classical violin at the same time. And there's just like different expectations in each style. And um, yeah, it's for me, I remember feeling like, oh, like it's hard to like you're sitting in a different way, and in one style you can slide and like do all sorts of things, and then but you can't vibrato, or like different techniques are like they were very very different worlds.
What are some of the similarities and differences between the Indian violin and the standard violin that everyone knows of?
So for Indian violin, you're usually like sitting on the ground, cross-legged. Um, your violin, usually in Western violin, you're holding your violin up, but here you have it kind of at an angle, so it's like a slant. Um, the kind of base of your violin is resting on your foot, and in the songs, like at least for South Indian in violin, there's certain scales have like they're very specific slides, and between each note, and those slides they're called gamakas, and they give character and expression to each note in the scale, and it's a very like it's what it does for the scale is it differentiates it from other things, and so in classical violin obviously there's like so many different styles and like different eras of music that have um, more slides, and then it's like more classical music where in the earlier times where it's more straight and different kind of ornaments. So it's cool to like kind of learn about those different styles, but I think what I'm drawn to is just doing whatever I want with all of that information somewhere in the back of my head.
is the actual violin, the actual instrument, different in India? Are there different
No, it's
or
the same
okay,
instrument. The tuning is actually different.
okay.
Um, it's usually just like if a violin is tuned in fifths, like G D A E. This is it could be like G D G D, or like, and you can tune it in different keys and depending on your vocal range too. If you're accompanying a singer, um, you'll tune it lower or higher, and yeah.
So the music on Kind is to me is almost borderline atmospheric. Some of the songs have like very little body to it. Is was that done on purpose or what?
Um, I guess you mean like in terms of the form of the
Yeah,
song? Or,
yeah.
yeah, I think that was just a period in my life where um, I kind of like I was coming out of this writer's block, and then everything that came out were just like these one idea kind of themes, and I just felt like, oh, like this feels like enough right now, and I don't need to add anything to it. And as a band, we were also like exploring so much sound in terms of like um, more like electronic ideas and um, yeah, just like exploring like how far can the sound go if we just like let improvisation just like take it away. And so yeah, you're right that it's like a lot of the sound is like was built from just like exploration and um, just keeping things free, but having this like just like a small thematic song idea to to ground everything.
Yeah, the songs kind of sound like little mantras to some sort of meditation guidance. Is that yeah? Did you kind of go for that, or was like you said, you just kind of exploring and seeing where things go?
Yeah, I think it is kind of like little mantras and um definitely like when I wrote the songs it was just like something that I was feeling in the moment that either like validated something I was feeling or was like yeah, a mantra that I needed to just like tell myself to like move forward. And the rest of the exploration was just like created as a band with Pompey and Daniel, and um, we would just kind of like explore this like simple form, but um, play the songs differently every night on tour, and that's how the songs kind of like settled into their natural shape and like form and found kind of like where they wanted to be.
And a lot of the songs aren't kind or kind of they change shape unpredictably. And you know, you said you're improvising with your bandmates. What is the biggest takeaway that you've gotten from taking things in a non rigid manner when it comes to constructing music?
Yeah, I think like my biggest takeaway is actually just like there's so much there's so much beauty that can be created when like people bring their own voices into their instruments and into their parts and into what they create. Like Pompey and Daniel write all their own parts. I might have some like light suggestions here and there, and they really like it's like we all kind of let each other do whatever we want to do and whatever we feel and support it in improvising and then build off of it. And um, yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is just yeah, like having other people's voices be free in the music too.
It's very go with the flow, right?
Go with the flow.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm mispronouncing this, but you did some work with the Moms
Mom.
Plus Choir.
Yeah. Mom.
Did I say it right or
Yeah, we kind of just say
okay?
moms, just like a mom.
Moms. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, mom's choir.
Are they a part of the band, or did you just work with them on Into the Water and Alien?
So Mom's Choir is just like a bunch of friends in Montreal who all have amazing projects of their own, and we are all band leaders and just have come together to just like support each other through like our music and also collaborate with each other. And um, so I I would say like it's like an extension of the band. There's like a lot of all of the guests on the album are just like a lot of them have like sat in so many times as guests. Like a lot of them don't live in town, so whenever they're in town or if we go to their city, they'll be playing with us. Um, so Mom's Choir is just like we in our last release, Pre-Kind, the Do You Dream mixtape. Um, that mixtape, I just wanted to like work with moms to like make choir arrangements for songs, and so we kind of like our vibe is just like using improvising and a little bit of arranging and like keeping things free as well and like bringing that to each other's projects. So yeah, definitely like a really um I love that extension of the band. And like yeah, we'll when we play shows again, we'll definitely in our album launch we were supposed to have like a 3 night show, and one of the nights was going to be like brass and band and then strings and band and then moms and band. Um, so I'm hoping that will happen soon.
What did you learn from working with them?
um, that people have just like such unique voices and ideas, and it's possible to just improvise as a big group and still create so much beauty, and that friends are really great. And they're just such great friends, and it's so great when we can like just like give so much to each other's music, and it's also such a safe space. Like they're all just such lovely people.
I know you're big on collaboration. What is your process, or I guess your selection process of collaborating? Like, what do you look for? What's your ideal collaborator?
Yeah, like I guess like there's so many musicians that I love, and like the people that I brought onto the album, they're good friends, and I also love their music and their style. And when I thought of like okay, which guests are going to go where, it just felt like I remember feeling like, oh, the vibe of this song, like this is really going to need like harp, but not just any harp, like um my friend Emily, like she's going to be great on this song. And the same thing for like all the songs. I just felt like um, I could hear like that person's musical voice in it, and so that's kind of how I chose the guests for the album. Because I
It's kind of like a puzzle piece. This person will fit
yeah
here, and that person will fit there.
yeah, and some of it was just Daniel did the recording, and sometimes he would just like roll different tracks so you could hear like different pieces of like I remember when we were recording the brass. um I just kind of planned it for like I think one of the tracks, but then he just kind of like played another track, and it was just like beautiful and amazing, and we are like okay, like this is great too. And so it's a little bit of just like what person's musical essence fits into the song, and also whatever happens happens.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea to have.
Yeah.
So, can you elaborate more on you initially not fitting into the music industry?
Um, I feel like it's just like I kind of never knew what genre I fit into, and it it was always, I mean, I guess at the same time it was great because we fit into different places. And sometimes I felt like, oh, but we're not fully that, like we're not like fully the jazz festival, and we're not fully the indie scene. And yeah, it was just kind of confusing at first, because when you're just starting off, there's a lot of kind of this, maybe like some sort of pressure to like define like what you're doing and where it should fit and who you play with. And and also I didn't fit into like different like boxes of like, yeah, like how you should sound or look or be. And that was a little hard in terms of like getting the music out there and getting people to hear it. But I think like the world is changing, and we're also like discovering who we are more in terms of our sound. And um yeah, does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this, like the only reason, well, the one of the reasons why I liked Kind so much is because of everything you said. I don't know what genre to put you in at all.
Mhm.
That's what made it interesting. And think about a lot of the great bands throughout the last 20, 30 years, like Stereolab, for example. I don't
Mm.
know what genre they are, but I think their music is incredible and they're very influential. So I think it's great that you don't know where you would fit in regards to genre or radio format or whatever. That just makes your music more interesting and more diverse.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's something that, I mean, I feel like I've just kind of just gravitated to just writing what I hear, and being uninhibited by that. Um and it's been like hard to like just like be like, is what is it okay, like is this fine, like I love what we do. And like, and I think just like focusing in on the music that you're making and letting go of all of the exterior stuff, just like, and having such supportive community, like really kind of like gave us so much strength to just like keep doing it and keep growing. And yeah.
And, going back to you in your band improvising, and a lot of your songs taking on different shapes, I think that's a great place to be because again, you don't want to be immediately put in a box or a certain genre. You want people to just appreciate your
Mhm.
music for what it is. And I've been reading some reviews for Kind, and I haven't seen anything that really puts you in a certain box or any kind of specific
Mhm.
genre at all. I don't know. Maybe you've seen certain things. Maybe other interviews that you've done, people have maybe given you a label. But I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't, at least recently, haven't seen any genre labeling, and I think I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah. But here's what I'll ask you. Like, let's say if you ran a record store and you got Kind and you listened to Kind, where in the record store would you put Kind?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe like future folk section. Um, I don't know. That's actually a really hard question. I try not to answer that question because it falls into that genre category.
Exactly. That's why I did it. I was kind of being a jerk there because if you when you go to record stores, right, and there's certain artists that you like that you don't really know what genre they are, but their music is so incredible. You want the record, but you just can't find. You don't know where to look. Because I'm a big fan of Lido Pimienta. I don't know if you ever listened to her,
Love Lido Pimienta.
right? But where would you put her? I looked in world. I looked in pop. I even looked in indie. Nothing. I'm like, where do you find this?
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Amazing.
There needs to be like not even an other category, just like a big question mark. The question mark, and that's where I will shop every record store, the question mark section. And I would put you there and Lido Pimienta just chilling. Just you two.
I love the question mark section, and I think that that should happen.
Yeah, yeah. But long story short, you don't have a specific genre, and that's the way it should be forever and ever.
Thanks, Peter.
No problem. So, did Bandcamp Day help you at all financially at all?
Um, I think so. I have been at work all day, and so I haven't fully checked yet, but I think we made a couple $100 and it's all gonna go to this like raffle fundraiser we're doing, and I'm really excited about it and grateful for the support. Yeah.
Tell me more about the raffle fundraiser.
So the raffle fundraiser, we made a little album launch video, and I've been when I wanted to release it, but also like organize some sort of like, yeah, raffle fundraiser for some friends um, who are in northern BC. I went to stay there last January because I was working at a high school making a visual album with youth, and got to stay with this amazing family. And they're doing so much beautiful work for their community. Um, they are the Luxamishu clan, and they are rebuilding cabins on their territory that were burnt down through colonialism. And so they are going back, rebuilding it, bringing youth onto the territory to encourage them to like start businesses and just like connect with the land. And um, yeah, and they're doing everything with like green, sustainable energy, and want to work towards like an interpretive center where they could teach the culture and um, yeah, like encourage students to like go study like sciences and like come back and like work with the land. And um, it's just it's amazing like all of the work that they're doing. And so when I kind of was thinking of like where I wanted to like direct funds to, it was just that was like the last one of the last things that I did that was just um where the places that was at that I just felt so connected to. And so that's where all the money is going to go this Bandcamp Day. And for the next um, 10 days, we still have that raffle open. And yeah,
What are your thoughts on streaming services in general?
streaming services. Um, I mean, I really love Bandcamp. And I think that, it's so great to be able to um, find like any music you want and search it. And I love that accessibility. I wish that they paid artists more, and and I just think that there's a lot there's so much skewed there, but there's definitely some positives and negatives.
Yeah, and I think that when supporting artistry, we lost the biggest way, in my opinion, to support artists, and that is the live show.
Mm.
But through services like Bandcamp and even local indie record shops, I think those are
Mhm.
great ways to support artists. There's nothing like, I've realized this even more so over the last year and a half, 2 years, that there's nothing like holding a physical piece of music, tape, CD, vinyl, 8 track. I don't care. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, definitely. Like had I've had like my like CD buying addiction. I love band merch, and I just yeah, it's true that there's nothing like it, and it's definitely not the same experience streaming. Hmm.
No, I think the accessibility is the big seller for streaming services. You have everything you want on one app.
Yeah, that's that's definitely it. And it just yeah, it's really the accessibility and like how you're able to discover so much through it. And I think that I I'm sure there's a way to find a better model that
I'm sure.
gives the same things. But Yeah, I feel like the Bandcamp app is like is getting there, you know? Like it's like you can buy all of your favorite artists and um listen to them on Bandcamp. And it's just financially it just doesn't work and like I wish there was a different way. There's just
Yeah, yeah, we all do. I wish it for you. I wish there was a way that
yeah.
you know I could do something to make
Yeah.
artistry a livable way to make a living. If that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah, no, totally. It's like you have to do so much and just diversify everything that you do to like make a living. And here, like, um, it's like we have a really supportive grant system in Canada, and so that makes everything so much more accessible. And it's like,
Australia has that too, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just so it's so hard without that to like be able to like it's like I just want to be able to like pay all my friends to like make music and like have a blast doing it, and it's like the sustainability is so important. And I think that like I don't know, like I'm going to be so grateful for when shows happen again, and I think a lot of people will be, to just like gather together with music. And it's so important, and it's inspiring to see like other people in the community just like create. And yeah, like working with youth, like it's just amazing how music is just like such a connecting thing that like just unifies. So I think that we need to give more importance to it.
Yeah. You want to know my dream bill
Yes.
of you? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's you, it's Ava Luna, it's Lido Pimienta and Cambo Chimbita. Those four.
Wow, that is
That's
the
it.
dream.
That's the dream bill.
That's beautiful. That's my dream bill. Oh my gosh.
What? There we go. There we go. So tell me about your teaching residency with inPath. Is education your future?
um, it's definitely always something that I've gravitated towards. I think that I love doing a mix of everything. Like I definitely like I don't know, like this past last January when I went to Witset, that was the community where my first inPath residency was. inPath is great. They work with so many amazing artists of all sorts of disciplines, like bead makers and visual artists and musicians, and it's just it's so amazing, like the community there. And so I did this residency and I stayed in Witset for 6 weeks and wrote songs with the youth and made filmed some visuals with them and made a visual album. And it was such a great experience, and it's something I love to do. Working with youth, they have so much to say, and um, it's just it's I've just always loved teaching, and I've loved songwriting. And also when I left that residency and I came back to Montreal, I had like 1 day of rest, and then went on tour for the South by Southwest tour that got canceled halfway. And it just like I felt so rejuvenated, and like it gave like the tour like so much, like such a new meaning of just like, oh, like that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I just love music so much, because I saw like how powerful it is through teaching and through like I have students here in Montreal who like are also just like wonderful and inspire me. And um, I'm studying music therapy right now and doing an internship at a school for at a special needs school. And it's just it's music is so powerful. And so I think it's going back to your question, education is definitely a part of something that I always want to be doing and sharing, especially with youth. Um, and performing is also like, I feel like I can't just go one way. I have to do um, everything, which is another problem. But um, yeah, I just it feels like balance to me to like have both for sure.
All right, Thanya, thank you so much for coming on My Little Underground. And let people know where they can buy your records, follow you, talk to you, send a postcard. This is your time.
We're on Bandcamp, TanyaIyer.bandcamp.com. Um, we're on all the platforms. We have a website. We have a really sweet visual album that our best friend Bucky made that you could listen to our music in a different way. Um, you can send me an email and say hi. I'll probably respond. You can find us on Instagram, Thanya Iyer. And yeah, that's some of the spots for sure.
All right, Thanya.
Top shelf.
Oh yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Big ups to Top Shelf for putting your record out.
Love you, Top Shelf.